In episode 498, Ryan and Jose catch up on Hellraiser and Nightbreed cast appearances, screenings, and movie release news. Plus, we share some feelings on problematic topics and what is the ultimate Clive Barker reading order. This is the Clive Barker Podcast, where longtime fans Ryan and Jose interview guests, bring you the news, and take deep dives into Barker-related stuff. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive and advocate of his art, but Don's unique and inspiring paintings are for sale, and over 50% of the proceeds go to the Arts and Medicine program at the Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's even a paver in Washington, D.C. representing Celebrate Imagination. We're thrilled that this worthy cause is sponsoring our podcast again this year, and we hope that you'll consider looking over his Pinterest page and commissioning a painting of your own. For commissions, Don requires no money down, and there will be no obligation on your part. You can also head over to the Etsy shop to buy one of his books, like A Chimney Sweep's Tale, Celebrate Imagination, or The Imaginaries. Follow the link in the show notes, or click on the side banner, and let's see what's new with Don Bertram today. Check out his recent paintings, Balancing Act 3, Here Comes the Sun, and The Witness on Facebook. And also take a look at his art videos, Billy and Bobby, the Bug Brothers, and his intro to 35th Anniversary Hellraiser screening. Let's welcome our other sponsor, Ed Martinez, and his YouTube channel. Lots of great special effects videos and Barker-related content. What's the latest from Ed? Take a look at Ed and Nina's new shorts, the Dead Pit special effects video, and a video of Doug Bradley talking about Hellraiser 3. Hey, if you want to help us out, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BarkerCast589. Our subscribers will get exclusive access to content not available anywhere else, like our Collector's Corner video series, rare Barker videos, and early behind-the-scenes stuff. Our supporters get to help us choose episode topics and even join us on the podcast. Our supporters also get access to the exclusive channel in our Discord server. We'll be forever grateful if you consider helping us out and subscribing to our Patreon. We owe everything to this circle of magicians, so let's give a shout out to our Patreon supporters and see what's new on Patreon. We want to recognize our circle of magicians, that is our Patreon backers. David Anderson, Eric Vandeholt, Daniel Elven, Amanda Stewart, Bradley Gartz, David Blair, Matthew Batten, and of course our returning sponsor, Don Bertram Celebrate Imagination, and our new sponsor, Ed Martinez's YouTube channel. So what's new in Patreon? Well, subscribers can see a little thing that my brother Rob and I kind of acted out for Jericho Squad. So if you're a follower of Jericho Squad, you may have noticed that Drovo killed 40 cultists. Well, we actually played that out to see what would happen. I wanted to see if Drovo would die, if he'd get knocked out and kidnapped, or, if he'd be able to survive. And you can see that now in a video because we played it out and recorded it. And that's available just for our Patreon subscribers. So please take a look. Hey, well, welcome. This is episode 498. Good afternoon, Jose. Or morning.
Hi, Ryan. How are you doing today?
Good. Today we're doing a news episode. We're getting back to news, and we're only 2 episodes away from episode 500.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in the can for that one. I can't wait to see how that's all going to fit together.
Me too. Yeah, I think we might have like 4 hours worth of stuff.
And we've been reaching out to, big people, trying to get them to join us as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And one thing, this was for later. I put this note later on in the notes here, but we do have room for just a few more voicemails or videos if people want to add them into episode 500. Yeah. You can do voicemails on our website or send a PM, private message or email if you'd like to add a short video. You can talk about when your Barker fandom started, when you started listening to our podcast, etc. Thank you. And we did get one more voicemail because I put that out on our Discord and on our listeners group, and we had one more message. So I'll be putting that in.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so stoked to hear all the messages. And I recently saw one of the videos that is going to be on that episode by one of our sponsors, Don Bertram. And it was a lovely video. Yeah, it's a really touching video, and it shows a little bit of behind the scenes. So that's going to be an interesting episode with a lot of interesting material.
Yeah. So first off in the news, Space Monsters magazine. And this one I found out about because it was posted in a GWAR Facebook group. GWAR Fans Unite. Because one of the contributors is Casey Orr, who plays Beefcake the Mighty in GWAR. But Nicholas Vince is also one of the contributors for Space Monsters magazine.
Oh my gosh.
So that's pretty cool. One of their first issue is going to come out fairly soon. So it's just a brand new kind of startup thing.
Oh, that's really cool. And you found this in a GWAR group? I think you have to be in the group to be able to open up that link, though.
Yes, and unfortunately, this person, he wasn't just sharing a post from somewhere else. He posted it directly in that group. So I tried to go back and find a link that everybody could get access to, but I wasn't able to.
That's okay. Is it a metal magazine or is it dedicated specifically to GWAR?
No, it looks like kind of an old timey sci-fi sort of a magazine. Oh,
and Nicholas Vince is also contributing for that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's got like a picture it says Space Monsters, and it's got like a picture of an astronaut with a glowing skull, in the helmet. So it looks like the aesthetic is like old 50s sci-fi kind of stuff.
And does it say when we can expect that to be out?
I don't think so. It looks like they're soliciting for advertisers and stuff right now.
Ah, okay. Probably early stages.
Yeah, I think so. And it's got like different pages of sort of a press kit, I guess.
Wow. I got to join that group so I can have access to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, and there's a picture of Balzac, the Jaws of Death from GWAR in their press kit.
Well, I just tried to join the group, but it asks membership questions. Oh my God, here we go.
Okay, I can help you with that.
Your membership is pending approval. How do you hide money from a hippie?
You put it under the soap.
You put it under the soap. Hey, that's classist. All right, how many beefcakes have there been?
Oh, wow, these are really tough questions.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's either 3 or 4. Probably more. It might even be more than that.
How many beefcakes have there been? Huh.
Yeah, I would say 4 with a question mark.
Okay, let me put that in there. I guess they just want you to try to prove you're human.
Yeah.
Submit. There we go. We'll see if they accept me. Awesome.
Wow, they didn't ask me those tough questions when I joined it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so cool. So that's going to be a magazine that's going to be coming out soon.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it. I put a message in there. I said, hey, this is great. I do the Clive Barker podcast, and I'll be sharing this on our upcoming episode this weekend due to Nick Vince being a contributor. Obviously, I'm also a GWAR fan since we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just put a heart on my comment, but didn't
that's
reply
wonderful.
Or anything. Yeah, I thought maybe he'd want to share more with us, like so that I could post it more publicly, besides just a link to a GWAR group. But
you might have to message them or something. It's cool how sometimes our fandom, our other alternative fandom overlaps with our Clive Barker fandom. yeah. Like when we were talking to Tony Randall, right? And we got into talking about how he did the adaptation of Godzilla 1984 or 1985. Oh, yeah. That's a good example because you're a huge Godzilla fan. I've become a big Godzilla fan myself. I've been watching a lot of Godzilla nowadays. I've been watching Godzilla 2000 and stuff like that on Freevee or Tubi or whatever. Sometimes they're the dubbed versions, but sometimes you can get like the original Japanese version. But it's always fun to watch those things. There's going to be, speaking of old movies, there's going to be a screening, right, of Nightbreed, of a 35 millimeter print.
Yeah, so that means it's of the theatrical cut. And Ann Bobby is going to be there to do a QA and questions and stuff.
Yeah, at the Lincoln Center, correct?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. You know, we're going to have a screening of the Nightbreed film copy and 35 millimeters at the Lincoln Center, which is amazing to be alive to be able to say this on a podcast.
I know.
It's going to be part of their upcoming series, The Other America, a cosmology of Jordan Peele's Us. And then the screening will be followed by a post-screening discussion with Ann Bobby, writer and designer Leela Taylor, and filmmaker Sierra Pettengill, who directed Riotsville, USA. So how cool is that on June 25th? So as we record this, it's 4 days from when we're recording it, a Wednesday of the upcoming week. So I hope that you guys are listening to this in time to get a ticket.
Yeah. And Ann Bobby has, you know, when she's posted about this, she's commented that, of course, she loves Jordan Peele's Us. Yeah. And she said she's felt a little conflicted about seeing this version of Nightbreed because she feels more aligned with the director's cut.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
And the video that's posted on that is a video of Ann Bobby describing her experience of doing the scene with the puppet of Babette, which is a rescue she'd had on camera.
Which is a scene that's way more expanded in the director's cut and the Cabal cut. Yeah.
Yep. It's much more touching.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm jealous of anybody that gets to go to that. That will be awesome. If you get to go see that, let us know what you think. I never saw Nightbreed in the theater. Nightbreed got me into it, and it from what I remember, I think it had a short theatrical run. And I saw it on video in the same year that it came out in the theater.
Right. I think the first time I saw it was either on TV or rented it on VHS. Yeah. But then I did get to see it on screen like a couple of times. So that was cool. Usually on festivals.
Yeah, same. I've seen it in festivals, but never like in its original theatrical run, which I think it was a short theatrical run, like, you know, kind of typical one weekend in a week or something like that.
Speaking of other movies who have not had much of a theatrical run, Hellraiser 2022, right? There's going to be a new release in 4K by Turbine.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, but what we've found out from our friend Ed Martinez is that he's going to have at least one feature on there. They've recorded a couple, right? He's going to do a feature about Leviathan Tech, but he's also recorded an audio commentary with Josh and Sierra of Russell FX that may also get on there.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And again, if Turbine's listening, we also do commentaries for Hellraiser from Hulu. So if you guys are interested, contact us. We'd love to be a part of that.
Yeah, and we had one really good commentary we did for the 2017 Nightbreed Cabal cut. So we would love to do more of those.
Yep. So that's going to be an interesting 4K release for people who don't have access to Hulu or people who want to have this movie as a physical release on your shelf. This is your chance. And
one of our best podcast buddies, Peter Atkins, just had a recent appearance on another podcast.
That's right. He's had a chat with Stephen Chris of the Horror Makes Us Happy podcast, and he says he had a really pleasant talk with him. It's not our podcast, but God darn it, it's Peter Atkins, so you better go listen to what he has to say.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I will probably check it out. I have a whole, I mainly, when I listen to a podcast, I listen to all the episodes, but I do have once in a while ones where our friends show up on some podcast and it's not one that I know, and I'll listen to that episode.
Yeah, and sometimes you find that, hey, this is pretty cool, you know, maybe I'll check out the other episodes.
Exactly, yeah. That's happened where I've also gotten hooked on something and I stick with it.
In this episode, I think that Steve and Chris, along with Peter, talked about Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine, the Pan Book of Horror Stories. They talk a little bit about the Dick Van Dyke Show and other things. So,
wow.
Looks like they go on a lot of tangents. Should be very interesting.
Yeah, that's probably Pete Atkins' influence a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Nicholas Vince has been cast in a couple of movies.
That's right. he recently posted an announcement on his page that he's been, the Fairy Dust team is proud to announce Nicholas Burman Vince has been cast as both the mischievous.
Or mischievous. They're both good, yeah.
Good. Again, second language to me. And the voice of the Devils. So 80s horror fans will recognize Nick from his legendary role as the Chatter in Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2, as well as Kinski and Nightbreed. So they're thrilled to have him along for the journey. So yeah, that's going to be cool. Ewen, that's one of the movie titles. And the Devils, apparently he's going to play the voice of the Devils. So yeah, interesting that we'll keep an eye on this Fairy Dust announcement and see if we can find out when that movie is coming out.
Yeah. And then we've got Simon Bamford, who's going to be playing John in Black-Eyed Children, and that is going to be on the Screamify app.
That's right. Yeah. So I think that Simon posted that in his page 3 hours ago as we record this.
Yeah.
So we decided to add that. It's the Black-Eyed Children. Looks like a horror movie. It says the secrets they know will change our world. And it's announced at the top of the poster. The top billing is for Katakuna, Bill Oberst Jr., and Simon Bamford.
I don't know much about this movie because this is, like you said, he just posted this.
Yeah.
But from the poster, it kind of looks like one of those Village of the Damned, like the children are all creepy and banding together against the adults sort of a movie.
Yeah, it's directed by Joseph Galay, and it's like a found footage film, I think. Oh. So, yeah, Claire, played by Katakuna, takes a summer job at a camp called St. Beatrice. And then when she gets there, the place is all deserted. There's no campers, no staff. And then the children show up. They're pale, they're silent, and they have solid black eyes. The website for the movie says, think urban legend meets supernatural threat. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, urban legend, was that...
You mean like a horror movie based on urban legends?
Yeah, I thought they said urban legend meets. I thought they're talking about the movie Urban Legend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. That's an old movie, right? Late 90s or something.
Yeah.
With Robert Englund was in it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So you thought they were talking about urban legend, the concept.
Oh, right.
I don't know.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm not sure which one they meant.
I think they're just talking about concepts, right? Not necessarily particular movies, but you know, you might be right on that. But yeah, Scary Children. I'm always on board for Scary Children. Village of the Damned.
Children of the Corn.
What was the one where Clive Barker produced it?
The Plague.
The Plague, you know.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see like scary kids coming out of the woods.
Yeah.
I still remember watching Children of the Corn.
It's an easy thing to kind of grasp onto for horror, right? Because you don't want to like start beating up or murdering children. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, you have to save them, right? You have to save them. I always love to give updates on what's going on with our favorite actors here. Yeah. And I'm glad that Pete, Nick, and Simon have things going on right now, as well as Aunt Bobby. So that's another update from us here at the Reef. What else do we have here on the show today?
Just one thing in site news I was thinking about. We still technically have a BarkerCast app on the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
And so I got an email recently from somebody offering to buy our developer account. And they're like, yeah, we buy up developer accounts. And I was typically the minimum we pay is $300. And I was thinking and I told them, we don't update the BarkerCast app because people don't listen that way. They listen in traditional podcast ways on podcast apps and, YouTube and stuff like that. They don't download our app and listen that way. And so the Apple one is gone because it's, it kind of fell by the wayside with one or more of the system updates. And the Google Play one is still there, but I'm thinking that these people are scammers. Why would they want developer accounts? That gives you access to somebody's Google account. And so I'm thinking it's a scam and, I just stopped talking to them.
I gotcha. It does say here while we were talking about that, I did look up and it says that buying or selling developer accounts for platforms like Google Play or Apple Developer is generally against their terms of service and can lead to serious consequences. So yeah, good on you for bringing the attention to that. Cause, I don't think that's a good thing just for a quick pile of cash to sell someone your developer account. Then all of a sudden you find out that you've been hacked, right?
Yeah. Well, and also, why would somebody need, you can get a developer account. Why would somebody need to buy ours? So that also tells me, for some reason, they weren't trying to hack us. There's some nefarious reason why they aren't allowed to have one themselves. Yeah,
there's probably like the nefarious reasons. Yeah, I agree. I think that's true. So good on you for bringing out that scam into the open.
Yeah, we do have a couple of fan topics from Reddit that came up on there, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring those up. And so one person, and we've talked about this a few times, the Clive Barker reading order, but this time around I revealed my reading order that I made for the old Clive Barker book club. Because, and I put hours of work into that. And so I pasted that into my comments here. And this topic was from Bitch Beef Man on Reddit. But so I put my reading order on there, and I had to put it in 3 comments because it's so big. But it's really comprehensive. And it was what I did for our Clive Barker book club, which was unfortunately run into the ground by, poor management. But, so we didn't get very far. I think we only got in like partway into the Books of Blood, and then that whole thing fell apart. Basically, what it boils down to is reading things in chronological order of the time that they came out, except that we're putting the series together, right? So the Aberrat books you read together, Everville, The Great and Secret Show, then you read Everville right after. But other than that, chronological order, and I even put in rare short stories and where you can find them and stuff like that.
I think it's curious that you put Clive Barker's first tales like close to the Scarlet Gospels. I would imagine, because it seems like you took the chronological approach to the stories, like because you have like you have stories like Coming to Grief mixed in between the books and stuff. So I'm assuming, why did you pick Clive Barker's first tales just before his last book and not at the beginning, for example? Why did you?
I think that was because those are so old, and that you really need to. I didn't want to kind of scare people off
with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Books of Blood are a great place to start, but I think those are for like real established fans.
I could see that.
Yeah. And I think that was why I did that, but also this was like 6 years ago or so. So I'm trying to remember, why I did it that way.
Yeah.
But I think that's the reason.
Yeah, but that's a pretty thorough and very, very well detailed version. You even have, like I said, Pigeon and Teresa on Amen's Shore, which are stories that are kind of hard to find. And I think, most people probably who have read The Great and Secret Show and Everville probably have not heard of Amen's Shore. I mean, it's not an easy story to find, right? And it still takes place in Quiddity and stuff. So it is part of the canon. So good on you for picking that one there. I myself have never read Pigeon and Teresa because I never really found that story. So I need to try to find that Time Out Book of London short stories because I honestly never read Pigeon and Teresa. So that's one of the things
Amazon or a lot of times you can find these old out of print books really cheap on Amazon or eBay.
That's a good idea. I'll probably look at that after we are done with our recording.
And then of course Lost Souls people can get on a website for free, but I couldn't post the link to it in Reddit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, interesting. There is the Time Out Book of London Short Stories is in the Internet Archive. It doesn't let you read the whole thing, but you can either purchase it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it says here, Pigeon and Teresa by Clive Barker. It's the first story on the book. Huh.
Oh, wow. I wonder if you can get through the whole thing on there.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Do you want me to add this to the links of our show notes?
Yeah. In the show notes portion, like that's one of his most crazy kind of comedic, far out sort of stories.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, I
it's
definitely
about
have to purchase it.
a turtle and a parrot that are sort of on the lam, because this angel that was doing apotheosis on their owner, they were his pets, right? And so this angel was rising their owner up to be an angel, and the power that he unleashed accidentally evolved these two creatures so that they could talk. Okay. And he's like, oh man, I really screwed up. I got to kill them. And so they're on the run.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't spoil it. Don't spoil the rest for me. I'm probably going to be reading it over this weekend now that I found a place that I can get it electronically. Yeah. Looks like you can buy this from Better World Books, whatever that is. So that's not bad.
And I think this is also the order that I'd like to keep do our book club of blood, our segment that we're doing for our podcast.
Yeah. Let's link people up to your order for reading Clive Barker, because it's pretty thorough and it's a beautiful little bibliography. You said 3 parts. I'm seeing 2. Ends of the Scarlet Gospels.
Well, so I mean, the first part was just my introducing.
I see. There's another funny bit of trivia that you found here in Reddit, right? On the Clive Barker subreddit.
Oh yeah, the printer's devil. So somebody was what is his name? Let's see. This was Demigod 999 on. Was talking about this concept of the printer's devil, who would get blamed for bad things that happened while they're trying to print, typos and stuff like that. Titavilius is his name.
That is funny. I've never heard of that. Printer's demon. Like, they actually named him Titavillus. Yeah. And so apparently it's like the Helen Smithy of its time, right? If there was a typo in a book somewhere, the printer would just say, well, that was just the printer's demon got into it. And
like they said that the 1631 authorized version of the Bible, thou shalt commit adultery instead of thou shalt not. And so they blame the printer's devil for that one. Yeah.
That's cool. I think the printer's devil, in connection with Mr. Begone, which is the analogy that he's trying to make here, I think it works kind of okay, but I think this is more like, it's not so much like an urban legend. This is Mr. Begone. He's a real demon that's trapped in a book. It's not just not like
well, and I think he was trapped in the book through the printing press, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a funny concept. Yeah. I mean, the idea that an entity could be trapped in a book is a pretty fascinating concept.
Yeah.
And then you have to read the book to release it, which is very funny. But someone should use Titavillus to make like a modern horror film or something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, and then on a side note, this was just something I wanted that's been kind of weighing on me a little bit because I had kind of a big thing with some Redditor. But it seems like, and I'm sure you can sympathize with this, is that every time one of these two topics comes up, you have to end up getting in a thing with somebody about posting pirate links, right? So the Scarlet Gospels. This is also another thing that I hate about the Scarlet Gospels, is that whenever somebody posts on there, hey, I just got the Scarlet Gospels, I can't wait to read it. Or, I love the Scarlet Gospels. There's always this slew of people that have to come in there and crap all over that book and say it's ghost written. And I feel bad because it's like they're stomping all over somebody's enthusiasm.
Yeah. In that regard, it's very rude to come over and start trash talking that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like these forums should be for people to share their enthusiasm, like you said, and not so much to be like, oh, let's see if I can knock you down a peg. Like, you like something that I don't like. Like, why are you arguing about that? You all like the same stuff.
So I had a guy that, so I went on there. I'm like, okay, I can see what's coming. I said, first of all, I want to say that please don't post any links to pirated stuff.
Right.
Especially on our subreddit. And I said, and second of all, these topics are sometimes kind of a bummer because so many people stomp all over the original post and say, negative stuff. And this guy just went off on me. It's like, oh, you're going to delete our accounts if we have an opinion that's different from yours, and you're a tyrant and all this kind of stuff. And then he insulted me, and I was like, so then I threw him out, and then he sent me private messages to
oh my God,
harass me because he's like,
see, I was right. You are a tyrant because now you kicked me out. And he had also told people, he didn't post a direct link to the pirated script or whatever, but he did. He did tell people this is how you find it.
Okay, well,
so I'm like, so with those two things, like insulting me and just being a jerk and posting that, so I kicked him out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have respect for people, you can't just be like going off on people like that who are just doing the best they can to moderate things and answer questions. I mean, that's all we're doing. And we don't want to contribute to stuff that's pirated and that will be like taking, money away from the artists that have made it. Obviously, please don't do that. Don't post pirated stuff in the groups that you're in, because if we're moderators, we're going to have to step in and say, hey, sorry, you can't post this here. If you got to send it to someone, send it privately, at least, don't do it on the open, we can't control your messages. We're not that level of tyrant. We just,
And then even just recently, right. And this has been in the rules since 2012. But somebody posted, made a topic, where can I see the Cabal cut? And then, of course, people jump in posting links or whatever to this pirated, ultimate Cabal cut.
Right.
And so we have to jump in and say, hey, this is a violation of our rules. I mean, we put those rules way back when we were afraid that people having pirated links to things was going to shut us down and stop the progress of the Occupy Midian movement.
That's true. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's still a problem. I mean, that's still a problem for groups and stuff. If they have a lot of stuff that's reported or that's like caught by the algorithm as being pirated stuff, your group can get shut down. Someone managed to shut down the Hellraiser page that we used to control with the Hellraiser actors, right? And someone just decided that we were posting stuff that was they reported us for something, I don't know, but then it just made it so our page is unpublished forever. We've tried to resort to stuff. We don't want that to happen to things like Occupy Midian. It's a nice group and we just don't want to see it shut down because of that.
So that was it for sort of fan topics. That last one was a little bit of a bummer, but it's kind of always how I feel whenever, because I see somebody coming on there excited about seeing the Cabal cut, which, I agree. And I loved the 2017 Blu-ray version. I feel maybe I'm a little biased on it. I love that. I also really like the director's cut, and people may argue about those things. But there's an unfinished version out there of the ultimate Cabal cut, which became nothing, and it's pirated, so we can't share that around.
I think we made that pretty clear. But so coming up next, we've got other plans. Like we said, we're trying to get more people to interview in the upcoming episodes, so some things depend on that. But we're prepping up for the episode 500. We might have a Wishmaster commentary coming up as well with the writer of Wishmaster, Peter Atkins himself.
He may not know that we're he may not know about that yet. I just posted to him, and so it looks like he's seen it. We'll see how that goes. It's a little bit short notice, but it's something we've actually been talking about doing for a couple of years now.
And Jericho Squad is also coming to a kind of a season finale of sorts, because we are on the process of defeating the Heart of the Aboriginal. And we're still mid-battle, but it's going pretty well. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen once we are able to complete this challenge and see where the quest is going to take us.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. And you guys took out the first sort of form of the Heart of the Aboriginal pretty quickly, and so, but now you've got the core, the inner
thanks
part.
To those pit fiends, baby. Thanks to my patron.
Yeah.
That's right.
Those pit fiends, actually, I mean, I didn't really talk about this at the time, but when you guys were fighting them, they were actually way tougher than Gaustus or Butterfield by themselves.
I used the Luke Skywalker at strategy. I was like, let's hit the legs of this giant monster.
Yeah, right.
And it worked. It paid off. I was actually proud that it worked pretty well. And also, of course, the Pit Fiends were pretty good.
Yeah. Use your hooks and tow cables.
Yes, that's right. So good stuff. Good stuff. I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess that's it, right? And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed or followed our podcast. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that's not affiliated with Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. You can chat with us on our Facebook BarkerCast listeners group, our Facebook page, Reddit, Blue Sky, or our Discord server. Have you already bought our book? The BarkerCast Interviews Occupy Midian, available in Amazon hardcover, Kindle, and Apple Books. Join our Patreon and become a patron to get access to exclusive stuff, pick an episode topic, or maybe join in the discussion. You can also buy a t-shirt in our TeePublic store. Just go to tpublic.com/stores/BarkerCast. Leave a voicemail for us on the SpeakPipe link on our blog, and we might put it in the episode. Opening and ending music generously provided by Ray Norrish.
Thanks for listening.